Hey.
And yay, and here we go.
Woo!
Hello, everybody in the Zoom room. It's another day on Zoom with you and me and my friends and your friends. Oh my God, John, great to see you. I will look forward to answering your question as soon as you fall off the call, as I like to do. Yeah, welcome back. Great to see you. Another fantastic lip shade. We love to see it. What is up, Judith? Yeah. How are you? Thanks for being here. We got Luke with some very cool sunglasses. We got Chris in his studio. Patrick, great to see you. Adrian, you look great too. Everybody's looking good. What's up? Okay. Hey, y'all, we are doing another day, and David, that
I'm
was
flipping
fun.
around.
Okay.
Whoa. How'd you do that?
I'm experimenting.
Oh, we've
That
got some.
was kind of freaking me out, man. It's just like,
Woo! All right.
ah, quit it. You're
Isn't that
messing with my,
weird?
messing with my vertigo. Stop it.
Hey, what a way to start this December day with you all. What's up? We got Randy, we got Ralph letting my people in. William, nice to see you. I got a phone number. I'm letting the phone number in. You ever notice like you're just used to now being like, "Hey, what's up, iPhone 3?" That's my friend over there.
That's my
That's
handle.
me in 2020. That's my handle. Everyone, welcome. Thanks for being with us today. My name is Siobhan. I am the social media manager and community liaison here at Edge Studio, meaning once upon a time, we used to have mixers where I could be my very social self and hang out with you all. And that was like a project I got to do in this modern world where we are being safe as we possibly can. Of course, we are not gathering socially. So, in lieu of that, we have been having these Ask Me Anything sessions the entire pandemic experience, most of 2020. And this is our 19th session of the
Wow.
year, which is wild. Yeah. And on this day, we are so happy to have you. So thanks for being with us. And we've got a Zoom Unity. It's the first time we're looking like, we're like real profesh here. In the top row of your screen, you will see Mr. David Goldberg, our Chief Edge Officer, as if you will. David, how you doing? How's your day?
Excellent. I think everyone who's been on this call before knows I love these calls. So I still look forward to it. So yeah, this is great.
Me too. You guys make me laugh. If you're like, how's that like wanting to socialize? The chat is the place to do it. You can drop in your hellos and you can say, where you're from. Is the chat feature working? Let me like get up in here. Hey y'all. Are we working? Can we do it? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. So give me a hello to shout where you're from, I don't know, if you're drinking coffee or if you've moved on to other things. What time is it? It's 1 o'clock. Happy hour somewhere. So the chat is where we're gonna fire away our questions. Or one I have heard that David likes Journey. So Journey lyrics are also welcome in the chat as well. And then also to my Zoom right is our guest star today, my friend and a talented, wonderful person. He's been a coach with us for 9 years. 19 Ask Me Anything, 9 years of voiceover with Edge. And I've actually had training with him myself, and I'm super pleased to introduce you to Tom Dheere. Tom Dheere, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so
Yay.
much for being with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yay!
Yay.
What a joy. All right. Oh my gosh, welcome. Yes, we got Barry. I love Barry because he's always got all his sunlight in his space. Nice to see you. Hey, Amy, you look great. Ralph, welcome. Opening up the gates. Okay, so let's do this. I'm ready, y'all. And I think Tom's ready and David's ready. So, Tom is works in kind of I want to say like all the genres of voiceover, so we can actually probably cover a lot of ground. One of his things is you know what, in my brain, Tom, I've always called you the VO strategist, but it's strategist. Is that
Strategist?
right?
No.
Strategist.
Strategist. Though I'm going to call myself that now.
Am
VO
I?
strategy.
Do I
VO
speak
strategy.
English? What?
I don't know.
Uh,
I don't understand a word you're saying. VO strategist.
Meaning that not only does he do all the voiceover things, but he's like very good at keeping this stuff organized, put together, having plans, to-do lists, how you manage your life as a freelancer. So if you are feeling the burn of those kinds of questions, we do have an expert in our midst in those realms. Your blue screens are freaking out. Woo! Aloha from Austin. Hi everybody. Cool. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna drop your questions in the chat, and I'm going to facilitate them to my people here. I'm going to try to get to everybody. If I don't get to you, it's not that I don't love you. It's just, how it goes. I will also try to take differing kinds of questions. So if I feel like it's the same kind of question, I might skip over that. Or if you ask 15, I might not get to all 15 of your questions. You are muted, of course. This is to handle the chaos of the Zoom room, not because I don't love your beautiful voice. I do. Welcome. Hey, Salt Lake City. What's up? Okay. Here we go. Tom. Whoa, this is a very broad question.
Oh boy.
What trends what trends do you foresee ahead, I guess, in the voiceover industry? I don't know what exactly you mean by that, Al, but if you want to type in the chat a little more specific,
Yes,
or Tom,
clarification, please.
if we want to
Yeah, are you
riff on
talking
that.
about technology or recording with
Genres.
clients? What clients are looking at? Yeah, looking
Yeah,
for.
rates. Yeah.
In the
Can we go on
meantime,
to
while
another
Al
Yes.
Yeah, well, I would like for Tom to give us a little bit of intro for a little more context of like, Tom, can you just tell us a little bit about your VO journey and how you got into this and what
Sure.
you've been up to?
Okay.
Siobhan said journey.
Journey. Well, I'm just a small town girl living in a lonely world. So there you go. I'm a theater trained actor, and I actually went to the National Shakespeare Conservatory here in New York City for 1 year, and I dropped out after 1 year for various reasons, and was trying to figure out what to do with my life. So I was in New Jersey, I grew up in Jersey, living in New Jersey, staying with my mom at the time. She was reading a copy of New Jersey Monthly magazine, and she was looking at the back with the classifieds and the ads and the stuff, and she's like, "Tom, what's voiceover?" And I'm like, "I don't know. You like talk for money?" Um, and she's like, "Well, there's a coach. You should go check her out." This was 1994, by the way, for context. So this was 26 years ago. So I met this coach. I got some training. I recorded a commercial demo, and then she gave me a stack, like a ream of production company listing Xeroxes. She handed me that, and she's like, "Okay, well, congratulations. Here's your demo. Here is your stack of production companies. Start your cold calling, and good luck." So this was 1994. So there was no social media. There were no online casting sites. Nobody was recording from home. Most of the genres that you're familiar with didn't even exist back then. So needless to say, it didn't go very well for a very, very long time. Uh, but things turned the corner. I got my training in 94, 95. I got my first voiceover in 1996. It was a public service announcement for herpes awareness. Don't let it rock your world. Herpes, that is. Get the facts. That was my first voiceover. And I went full-time in 2005. And struggled for a while, and then turned the corner about 10 years ago or so. And now like Siobhan said, I do most genres. I specialize in e-learning, corporate, industrial, explainer, most of the non-broadcast stuff. I do other genres. I've done national commercials. I do video games once in a while. I was in Red Dead Redemption 2. I narrate audiobooks. I narrated Danielle Steele audiobook. But my core competencies when it comes to doing voiceovers is with the non-broadcast stuff. And I've been part of the Ed Studio family for 9 years. I teach Business and Money 201. I teach Marketing 201. I do business and money one-on-one consults. I do strategy sessions with Ed Studio students, helping them figure out how to build and organize and sustain their voiceover business. And I also do genre coaching, e-learning specifically, and explainers specifically, and I produce explainer and e-learning demos with Edge Studio as well. So that's me.
So that's Tom. So
That's
just
me.
hypothetically, if you were feeling like your life was falling apart because you just can't get your stuff together,
Hmm.
you could hypothetically have a session with Tom where you hypothetically cry and be like, what the heck do I do with my life? I'm so
Right.
confused.
And
And
equate your life
hypothetically, I'm
to
not saying
spaghetti, like a bowl of spaghetti that you throw against the wall to see what sticks, and just basically all you have is like a dirty smeared wall. Hypothetically,
I'm I'm just saying that's a hypothetical one-on-one
not based
coaching
in reality
session
with any members of the Edge Studio family at
with
all.
anyone talking
No,
right
no
now.
association with that
Uh,
at all.
he super helped me out. It was time well spent. So yes, so this is Tom. We're super jazzed to have you. So here we go. Kind of spinning off from there. Jarrett is asking, um, for the first 12 to 24 months of
Hmm.
being a voice actor, what would you say are the most important things to put energy, effort, expenditure into?
Well, I mean, the obnoxious answer is everything.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a slightly more nuanced answer to that. Is you need to figure out what does success look like for you as a voice actor. Everybody comes from a different background. Everybody's had at least one, two, or three careers. Um, and everybody has a different logistical situation, a different financial situation, a different emotional situation. So you want to reconcile, what does success look like for me as a voice actor? Which genres do I wish to be successful at? Um, and don't let anybody tell you that you have to do commercials and you have to join the union and you have to have an agent. That is a definition of success. That is not the definition of success. So come up with your own definition of success. Write a business plan. Do all that goal and action plan stuff that I'm going to be talking about in my Business and Money 201 webinar just in a couple of weeks. Um, Focus on training. You're here at Edge Studio. You will get high quality training. Focus getting a demo, a high quality demo. You need a high quality demo. You need to be able to record from home. You need to come up with a cogent marketing plan. Most of us don't even know how to define marketing, much less execute marketing. And no, posting, drunk selfies of you and your cat whilst posting your Farmville high scores does not constitute an effective marketing strategy. So we talk about that in Marketing 201 as well, which I do every month. So the problem is that you have a lot of heads, but you have a lot of hats you need to wear, but you only have one head. So you need to focus on all of these things. You need to achieve competency in all of these things: training, effective demo, marketing strategies, home recording, the ability to engage in effective project management. I can't give you an order because you need to do all of those things. But the core of it is your training, because if you're not a competent voice actor, you will have no chance. You could be the best marketer in the world, but if you suck when you press the red button, it doesn't matter. Or you could be the best well-trained voice actor in the world, but if nobody knows that you exist, all of that work is for naught. So you are a business. You are not an employee. You are not a starving artist. This is not American Idol. You are not going to get discovered. You need to work your tail off and treat this as a vocation. Treat it as a trade. Because if you're opening a small business, which is basically what you're doing, and you like to bake cakes and you want to make a bakery shop, you can't just make cakes all day. You need to make sure that the plumbing works and that your website functions, all of that stuff, all the grown-up stuff. Because I know you all want to do cartoons and video games because you all have a pretty, pretty voice and nobody gives a crap. All right. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Your talent is vastly overrated. Nobody cares. I own a pen. That does not make me an author. I own a wrench. That does not make me a plumber. Okay. And we all want to do cartoons and funny voices and all that stuff. But you need to have practical knowledge and be effective as a voice actor. So that.
Tom is here to spill the tea, as the young ones say. I
Love
noticed
spilling the tea.
I know Bina's drinking some echinacea tea over there. Turmeric tea with echinacea. Um,
Nice.
so okay, for a small kind of afternoon for that today. So I saw Luke was shocked about his voice not being special. You are
I
special, Luke.
know.
It's just
You
that
little
the people who give you
snowflakes.
money don't care. Yeah, you are.
Suck it up.
So, Tony is asking, woo! Tony is asking, I need to create my first website.
Mm.
Oh, okay. So, can you suggest 2 website builders for a non-gearhead that won't break the bank? Um,
Okay.
Tom,
Yes.
yeah, Tom, I mean, I certainly can talk about websites. Tom, I think you should do a little website primer.
Sure.
Yeah, of
Strangely
what,
enough,
yeah.
twice a year for Marketing 201, I teach a class called What Your Website Says About You. So I go into this stuff into severe detail. I will say that my voiceover website is WordPress based, and my coaching website is Wix based. Wix is great. WordPress is great too. It does different things. It's harder to work with than Wix. Wix is fabulous. I've heard good things about Squarespace as well. There are people out there who specialize in building voice actor websites. Joe Davis, who I believe it's voiceactorwebsites.com.
It is. Yep.
Voiceactorwebsites.com. He is fantastic. Joe's a friend. He's amazing. I also always recommend Nikki Sacco, Nikkisacco of Sacco Media. Nikki designed my voiceover website. She helped construct my coaching website. She's also a voice talent, and she's a logo designer. So she's the one that came up with Tom Dheere, the H is silent, but I'm not. And I've been riding that pony for 10 years, and I'm not getting off anytime soon because it's just like mwah, branding, you know what I mean? So, but yes, those are my recommendations. And Siobhan, if you have anything you want to share, please do.
Yeah, websites come up every so often, and I definitely think that and some folks have said, oh, I have an actor website, so do I need to get my voiceover website? And my advice has been, you don't need to do that right away. You can have a voiceover section on your website as long as it's clear, super clear, and as long as there's constant ability for people to get in touch with you on your website. And eventually, though, you will not want clutter. So you're going to have to move over to having your voiceover domain as well. You don't need your photo on it, but a
Unless you're
photo
hot
doesn't hurt.
and or really handsome, then put your photo on it.
No, we
But
don't want
make
to say
sure
that.
it is
No,
a.
kidding.
No, I'm saying people like working with good-looking people. That's what I'm just saying.
Well,
That's all I'm saying.
uh,
As long as it aligns with your
I
brand
will.
and you look like you sound.
Yeah, it's if you look like you sound, if you sound
Yeah.
like you look. Let me throw in a couple of thoughts on a website. So, I believe that when a client is casting a voice actor, they're looking for 3 things. One is they're looking to find. Sorry, let me clarify. When your prospective client looks at your website, they need to see 3 things. You need to convey 3 things so they will hire you. First, you need to make it easy for the client to hear your demo. Second thing, you need to make it easy for the client to trust you. And the third thing, you need to make it easy for the client to contact you. And just a brief note on each of those. In terms of finding, in terms of hearing you, it's bizarre to me that so many voice actors don't have their demos up front and center, and you have to go 2 or 3 pages deep into a website to find the demos. And then sometimes they're called fun, creative names like hear me or listen to me or things of that nature. But when we were casting, we're just looking for the word demo. And since this is such an international world, I think that I assume, but I don't know for sure, but I would gander that people in other countries are also looking for the word demo. So I think that you should probably use the word demo, even if you say, listen to my demo or something, if you want to be more creative. But the demos are the first reason why someone is going to visit your website. So make it easy for them to find your demos. As I said, the second thing is to convey trust. No one will ever hire you if they can't gain trust. And so for you to sort of convince the prospective client that they can trust you, that will come from testimonials. That can come from a headshot, so they know you're a real person. Again, if you look like you sound, that is, it can come from examples of your work, your portfolio, and so on. And sort of a side note to that, but if you are brand new in voiceover and you've just did a demo, but you have no actual experience, you don't need to say to your prospective client, well, I don't have any experience, because if they ask you about it, you can say, yeah, I have loads of experience. I've taken classes, one-on-one training sessions, coaching sessions. I've worked with experts in the industry such as Tom Dheere and so on, and have the list of names. And you've trained to a point that you're able to duplicate what is on your demo and just convey confidence. And the third thing, as I said, is make sure that the client can contact you. And there are websites that I've come across, albeit not too often, but I have come across some where I cannot find contact information. And that is just ludicrous. So your phone number, your email address should be everywhere. Plaster it. If you have a contact me form, that's fine. But I can tell you that half of our production clients at Edge Studio do not use our contact us forms or our request a quote forms. They rather call us or email us. So I believe that having a phone number and or email address in addition to a contact me form is critical. Again, some people prefer the form. Some people prefer to call and talk with someone in person. They might be in a rush and they think that a phone call is faster. Those are the three things I think you need to kind of keep in your head when building your website. Everything else Siobhan and Tom said, I absolutely agree with. In terms of the photograph, yeah, I do believe I personally will gravitate toward a service provider when there's a picture of someone, even if it's something like a painter or a plumber. If I see someone working out in the workforce, it just helps me feel like they're a real person. So I will gravitate toward that website rather than perhaps another service provider who has equal experience, doesn't have a photograph on their website. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, website gold up in here. I love this question, and I think this is really important, especially for my stage and film people. Tom, what do stage actors struggle with when starting VO?
It's a different medium. It's storytelling. It's all storytelling, but it's the way that you tell the story. If you're a stage actor, you are making sure that you are projecting so the blue hair subscribers in the back row can hear you. Voice acting, it's a much more intimate experience. If voiceovers is boxing, theater with giant exaggerations, and much more presentational. So I struggled with that too as a theater trained actor. Theater has an audience of many. Most of the time when you're engaging in voiceover narration, you have an audience of one. The process is the same for stage or film or TV or voiceover. Who am I talking to? So you can connect, seek the author's truth. But if you're in an enclosed booth, talk like you're in an enclosed booth, talking to one person. Now, whether you're doing exertions or if it's a video game or a cartoon, obviously that's a little bit different. But strive for reconciling that voiceovers tends to be a more intimate one-on-one environment when narrating.
I certainly, Tom, I don't know if you had this experience, but coming from stage to doing voiceover, I realized that if you memorize, an entire script to perform, the text is kind of internalized. So I think that finding your breath and finding your voice is comes more naturally because you've already got the text.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I struggle with is like, oh my gosh, I'm like running out of breath because I'm like reading this text, and suddenly things that I know how to do as a performer have really
Mm-hmm.
changed for me for voiceover, because you're not embodying text in the way that we do.
Right. If you're running out of breath when you're narrating voiceover, that means you're not connected. That means you don't understand what you're saying or you're getting caught up in something else. You know what I mean? So if you find yourself running out of breath, there's a reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I would also say that. Oh, sorry, Siobhan.
No, go ahead.
So yeah, relative to acting, voiceover is much closer related to film acting than it is stage. Like Tom said, you're projecting and stage, and in film acting, you're typically talking to an audience of one person, as is a voiceover. Another big thing that I've seen voice actors struggle with, voice actors who come from the stage acting, or voice actors who have stage acting experience. As you mentioned, Siobhan, they tend to memorize the script, and therefore, when they're recording, they look at a couple of words, and then they look up, and they look down at the script, and they look up, and they make that up and down motion with their heads, and that's bad for a number of reasons. Number one, it drastically can change the sound quality because you're close to the microphone, then you're far from the microphone. And you sometimes I've heard scripts recorded, especially long form, like an audiobook or documentary by an actor, and you can hear like every 5 seconds it's louder, 5 seconds it's lower, and you know that the head's going up and down. Um, so it's really important that as a stage actor, you learn to look at the script, keep your eyes on the script. Interestingly, that also happens with other people who typically perform in front of a live audience, like teachers who get into voiceover. They tend to look at a few words on the script and then they look up and they keep doing that. And so you need to learn to keep your eyes on the page at all times. So your mouth is in the same place relative to the microphone.
From EO, they're about to start interning at a local radio station. Would you consider this to be helpful overall in starting a VO career?
Mm, you want to take that one, Dave?
Yeah, it depends. Sure, it depends on the type of radio station. You know, if you're talking a radio station in which a more conversational voice is used, it could be very helpful. If it's a radio station where the director wants you to give some hard sell hype type of delivery, well, it may not be so helpful.
I
It
will
all
say
depends.
that I will say that a lot of people come to voiceovers from a radio background, and a lot of them they struggle mightily to transition because of their relationship to the microphone and how they read copy and, you know, the audience, the genre, and all that stuff. So I would, you know, sure, you could learn some things about voiceovers. I mean, the only things they're going to be doing there on a voiceover level is going to be narrating commercials or PSAs. So on that level, it could be very helpful, but don't take it as the only way. There's more than one way to do something right. So just be very objective and keep your eyes open when you're observing behavior and performance.
Well,
Yeah,
what
and if you're
about this?
looking around for a station to internet, sorry, Siobhan.
Yeah, no, I guess what I was going to say is if you have a chance to be like in the actual booth with them and see, you know, and maybe even just getting comfortable with whatever kind of tech is going on there or workstations they've got, then that could be a good experience, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
'Cause
editing wise, yeah, working on the technical end of things, it's terrific.
Yes.
If you have the opportunity to choose what kind of radio station you work at, or like if you're looking around at various radio stations, maybe look for a station that uses a more conversational tone, like a national public radio, like the local affiliate station or something like that, where the typical voiceover is not screamed or anything like that. Also, if you're um, narrating local commercials on at a radio station, usually they are very word heavy. So you have to read very quickly.
Yes.
And once you get out of the local market, that is rarely the case. So just understand that there are, like Tom said, there are different ways to go about, you know, different types of voiceover. And so if you learn a hard sell hype delivery with a quick tempo, that's just one way. Make sure you understand that there are different ways to read other types of scripts.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, I like this question too. Tom, how important is deciding/developing your brand in the first 12 to 24 months?
That's a good question. It depends, really. If there's one thing I've learned is that the more distinct that your voice is, the easier it is for you to brand. And the more specific the genres that you want to get into, the easier it is to brand. Does every single voice actor have to brand? No. The question is, do I need to brand? Well, I have no bloody idea whether you need to brand yourself. I will say this is, you know, the other side of that coin is that the more of a generic sound that you have, you know, like my voice isn't particularly distinct, you know, and I'm a white middle-aged guy. So there's a lot of people that sound just like me. So so maybe some branding is a little is helpful. You need to understand what branding is. I do also twice a year through Marketing 201 teach a class about how to brand yourself. So I would suggest taking that. I could just answer every question that any of you guys have with just take one of my Edge Studio classes. I just realized. So that's
And
just how
we
I'm going to answer all these from now on. Just take my class,
and
read my book, and
and
take my class. I don't have a book. Maybe I should. Anyway.
we do have a fabulous webinar with Tom coming up this month, in fact, which I will drop the link to. I actually could give it to you right now, but yeah, I think that, again, one of the emphases of this,
Emphases.
and I think I've taught. See, I speak English. That's what I've said.
You talk good.
Um, something that I learned at Edge was the was my what Danielle, I guess, would call like my wheelhouse. So like I was surprised, and I think I've shared this story with you before, but I was surprised when my coaches were like, "You have a youthful millennial kind of sound," and I was like, "No, I have a trained theatrical voice, and
Blah,
I'm
blah,
an
blah.
alto." Yeah, right. So for my narration demo, we made a quick transition to doing like, a Facebook ad for an app that deletes all the photos of your ex, and like like a vampire bats documentary for like tweens, and so doing things that's like cute and fun, and like
Hmm.
working with the quality of my voice. And that's an element of branding too. It's like,
Hmm.
oh, okay, cool, I would do apps for millennials to delete photos of their exes, and I would totally work with like tweens on like fun spooky
Right. And
like,
I would
character.
not. No, but
No,
just to
that's
make the
right.
just to make the point, a lot of the branding also involves listening to the industry. I don't care that you guys all want to do cartoons and video games. That's nice. Everybody does. Is your voice perfect for it? It is in your head because that's what you want to do. I have this bad habit when it comes to voiceovers. It's called eating. I'm up to like 3 times a day now. So it took me a while to realize that if I wanted to eat, I got to put myself in a position to have an opportunity to do voiceovers that people will actually give me money to do. And for me, that's e-learning. That's explainer videos. That's corporate, industrial, non-broadcast, informational content for me. That's what works for me. Yes, I've done cartoons. Yes, I've done video games. They're great. They're fun. But I was not able to create a sustainable revenue stream doing those. So I went over here where people were actually giving me money to say things out loud, because that's ultimately what you guys want to do. Talk for money, you narcissistic masochists that you are.
I think
Hi, I think
another
I
thing with
sound
branding.
good. Could you give me money to say things out loud, please? No? Okay, then you go to the next one. Hi, I think I sound good. Could you give me money to say things out loud, please? Tell me I'm lying, Dave. Tell me I'm lying.
We are at Edge. We are inundated with demos. But here's the thing. I mean, some people don't really ever have to brand.
No.
And I hate saying that because I think I personally think it's generally a good idea to do so, but time and place for everything. If you are looking to get work just from the online casting sites, branding is not as important as it
No.
is if you're marketing with the website or making cold calls or reaching out to specific types of clients. Sorry, my phone is. Hope you guys can't hear that. Everything is everything should be tailored to you and your goals and your interests and your, as Tom said earlier, your financial logistics and timeline. And
Yeah.
there are just lots of considerations, lots of factors. And you can work with someone like Tom, or and put together a plan that is right for you. So maybe you should brand, maybe you shouldn't brand, maybe you should have multiple brands, multiple websites, maybe just one. It really does depend on a lot of factors.
Right.
But generally, in general, having some focus can even help you mentally. It can help you push forward. It can help you be dedicated. It can make it easier in marketing because this industry is pretty big. And if you enter it and think, you know what, I'll try to enter all 27 genres from audiobooks to cartoons and everything in between, it's very overwhelming, and maybe nothing will stick. That's the analogy, as you said, Tom, before, of throwing spaghetti at the wall and like hoping something sticks, and maybe just a smear sticks, and that's not going to get you anywhere.
Right.
Having some focus can help clients understand who you are and what you offer, and they can more easily stick you into their database with a keyword or a tag, or however they maintain their database. So then they know when to call you.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you're just another demo.
Right. To that point, there are 3 ways to book voiceover work. I call them portals. There is representation, there's online casting sites, there's direct marketing. Okay. Do you need to brand yourself if you're only on online casting sites? No. Do you need to brand yourself if you are trying to get an agent? Maybe. Do you need to brand yourself if you're engaging in direct marketing? Far more likely that branding could serve you. So that's also what you want to do. You want to reconcile your branding, your marketing, remember I said at the beginning, what does success look like for you? Reconcile it with those portals and those genres. That'll help you make a more informed decision on whether branding would serve you.
Tom, to that end, I've gotten several in the chat, as I'm sure you can imagine, questions about the online casting and
Ah,
pay to play.
yes. Ah, yes.
Now, Tom actually has an entire class coming up about this. So
Yes.
and the reality is, y'all, it's such an in-depth world that like we can't really cover it in a, hangout Q&A style. So Tom, what's your crash course through line brief intro to this subject? Just to give a little nugget to our people today.
I'll say this one thing is that for a lot of aspiring voice actors, they try to make online voice casting. I'll say this. Remember I said there's three portals: representation, online casting sites, and direct marketing. Online casting sites, pay to plays in general, can be part of a balanced breakfast, but it should not be the entire meal. It can be a part of your business model, but I don't think it should be the entirety of your business model, because if you're doing that, you're denying yourself other ways to book work. Because if all you're doing is sitting at home, waiting for auditions to come up, clicking on them as fast as you can, auditioning as fast as you can, and praying, that's not a voiceover career. That's not a business model, or it's not an effective business model. So obviously you can be successful. You can find decent work through online casting sites, but you need to understand how these online casting sites work, and why they work the way they do, and how do they work in relation to the other portals, that being representation and direct marketing. And in the class I'm going to teach, which I want to say is the 16th, December 16th, we're going to seriously drill down into that.
I've already dropped that class in the chat. It is
Nice.
December 16th at 8:30 p.m. and the link is right there. So if you have a lot of questions and you've got things that you're trying to figure out this world, spending the dedicated time on it is really going to be the best way to get these in-depth questions answered with an expert. Tom, someone earlier, Al, was asking about the varying aspects of organizing your VO career, and he said he's asking about delegating these for things you may not be adept at. Do you do you have an assistant, for instance, or do you is there delegating that you do in your life for yourself?
There's a ton of delegating that I do in my voiceover business. Have a living, breathing CPA. For one thing, if you want to be a voice actor, you need a CPA, and one that's at the very least versed in people who are self-employed. Ideally, you want to work with somebody that works regularly with entrepreneurs in general, self-employed people, voice actors, obviously, singers, actors, models, dancers, musicians, people who ply their trade in this world. So that's one thing I delegate.
Tom,
Yes.
Tell us what a CPA is.
Certified public accountant.
Boom.
Somebody who will help you do your taxes. Thank you. I never narrate an audiobook at home. I always do it at a remote studio, and I pay the studio to do it so I can focus on my performance and have someone tell me, you're going too fast, you're going too slow, your French accent turned German, your German accent turned French, which happens to me all the time. I also and they also do all the editing, because I got into the voiceover industry to be a voice actor, not an editor. There are editors who are getting paid very well to do that and love doing that and are exponentially better than I am. And also, if I am paying somebody to spend 10 hours editing this audiobook, I have 10 more hours to do other things with my life, like market myself so I can get the next audiobook. And yes, I do use virtual assistants from time to time. I use them for data mining, list building, to help if I'm exploring a new genre and I want to build a list of contacts in that genre, and then maybe put together a postcard mailing or something like that. Hire a virtual assistant to help get the information and send out all the stuff. So yes, your time is more valuable than your money. I don't care how new you are to this business. Your time is more valuable than your money. And if money is an issue, it's an issue for everybody. You know what I mean? But if you want to be a business, if you want to start a business, you got to spend money. You need capital to create a business. If you don't have enough now, be patient. Attend sessions like this. Read blogs like mine. And there's a bunch of great blogs out there. TomDeere.com/blog, by the way. Just celebrated my 13th anniversary of blogging as a voice actor. God, I'm plugging. It's so pathetic. But there's a lot of free resources where you can learn a lot about the voiceover industry. So be patient, but you do need capital to run a business, whether it's voiceovers or otherwise.
Yeah, a lot of tea being spilled tonight, which is
I
really
got
great.
it
I
all
think
over my
actually,
pants. I'm very excited.
I think, yeah, and I just want to like underline one of the things that Tom said about your time being more important than your money. That's pretty powerful, and it's powerful because we're also talking about like our mental health and landscape here, and like the overwhelmedness of all the things we've been talking about in the past 40 minutes is incredibly overwhelming. And so, yeah, so Al, I'm glad you asked it. Tom, thanks for being so specific about the kinds of things you delegate.
Sure.
Admin, right?
Yeah.
Admin stuff is a time suck. It is not healthy for us, you know? So if you're in a place where you've got that amount of admin going on, wonderful. But building lists, that's such a great idea.
Hmm.
You can do that, but boy, that's going to drain you. And
Yeah.
for other people, they love to like tap away, you know? People
Yep.
have that different kind of left brain stuff that is not actually why we're in this business, as Thomas pointed out. So
I like
heck,
spreadsheets. I'm
and
just
you know
saying.
what? It's okay. If you like spreadsheets, everyone, that's okay. We embrace you, and this is a place for people who like spreadsheets. We accept all the people here at Edge. Maya, this is a really interesting question, Tom, from Maya. In
Hmm.
addition to having a website and of course your professional demos, would you recommend using social media like TikTok to share your acting and voice and to build a fan base? Or would you separate fame on social media to submitting to productions?
Do you think that would impress a voice seeker? Do you think that would make them more likely to cast you? Or is this just an exercise in ego? Ask yourself that question. If you think this will genuinely increase your awareness amongst voice seekers, not just, I'll put it this way. You guys are all on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. If you take away from all of those social media groups, all of your friends, all of your family, all of your fellow voice actors, how many actual connections do you have on those social media platforms? My guess is not many. So most of the time, it's a very insular, incestuous, just voice actors marketing to voice actors, which is what 99% of you guys are doing. When you're posting some stupid whatever, oh, look at me make this funny voice on TikTok. The only other people seeing it are other voice actors, and who cares? Who cares? You're doing it to make yourself feel better, and that's not what you are in this industry to do. You're in this industry to develop and execute an effective business model. If you're really good at video production, you can make high quality content and it doesn't take up too much of your time. Yes, you can put something out there. It's something that I personally never, ever, ever, ever do because it's not about me. It's about my value. And my value is not my pretty, pretty voice, which all of you have. And again, we've already mentioned that nobody gives a darn. Nobody cares. Marketing is about value demonstration. Demonstrating what your value is as a voiceover business, not necessarily as a voice actor. Okay. So yeah, you can do Daffy Duck in Spanish. Great. There are 5,000 idiots just like you who can do it better. So now what? Okay.
Now,
Everybody wants to do this for a living.
and what I will say in addition to that is that that is not to say that you shouldn't, when you've recorded a new demo,
Mhm.
share it with your social network,
That's
right? I mean,
demonstration of value.
and because
100%.
what and there is a means of like using your network, like for instance my cousin works at a local radio station in Maryland, and he was like, oh my gosh, you do voice acting, we need a woman to like record some stuff, would you be
Mhm.
willing, right? So that can happen when you share your work and your talent
It can.
on
Absolutely. Absolutely. But my point is that if it's an ego driven endeavor, then you're just wasting your time. You're just wasting your time. I will say this, the only time that I post any work that I do on the internet is when the product or service or widget or company that I am voicing is of value. And I want to share that with you. Hey, check out this great company. Like I was doing a bunch of explainer videos for a new wire transfer company called Veeam in Europe. And that's a great thing to share with small businesses because wire transfers are expensive and they take forever. So I sent this to all of my voice seekers, regardless of genre. Hey, you may want to check out Veeam, not because it's got my pretty voice on it, but because this may be a product that may be of value to you. See the difference? Instead of just making it the me show, demonstrate value, demonstrate progress. That's what you want to do.
This is awesome. Yes. Okay. So
Hey,
this is a
Yvonne,
yeah. Yes.
I'd just like to, I didn't get a word in before, which is good, but I want to bounce back to the administration thing. If anyone needs an intern, you can contact a local college and speak with the professor of their marketing classes and their advertising classes and so on. And you find a couple of students who are very eager to work with you. You may get them at no cost. I would still suggest to give them something just out of your own, just be generous with it. But they may do it for credits, and it could be a really interesting project for them. And if you need someone to put together lists or whatever it might be, it's a great resource. And the other thing I wanted to say about using an intern or someone to help you with your work is if there's any portion of the work that you know should be done, but you're not going to get to it, then farm it out to someone else. Don't sit there and procrastinate forever and ever. Just be realistic. Say, you know what? I just got my demo yesterday and I know I need to do these 10 things in the next week or whatever it is. And if you're realistic and say, but probably I won't get to them, then get someone else to do it for you. Stay on track.
Mm-hmm.
So for that reason, you put together your timeline and make sure that either you or an admin, like an intern, does it for you. Okay. I just wanted to share those thoughts.
One more point about that, David. I also produce a comic book. And I and my business partner have regularly used interns from local colleges that are social media majors. You can actually major in social media now. And they have there's a certain amount of hours that they need to put in to be able to get their credits. So helping them organize your Twitter feed or come up with content or look for places. So for example, we would look for places to submit our comic book for review to, our latest issue came out, or we'd love to be a guest on your podcast to talk about our comic book, that sort of thing. That can be very, very effective and very cost effective too, to David's point.
Right.
Micah says, or edit my podcast.
Or edit my
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Find someone at a broadcast school and let them, do some editing. It can be very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Common question we tend to talk about it pretty regularly. Tom, is an agent necessary?
No, not necessarily. Again, now this is part of that American Idol chorus line, God, I hope I get it. If you're not a star, you're a loser culture that's been imposed on Americans in the entertainment industry. Agents will not make you successful. You guys, you're not going to get discovered. That's just not how it works. An agent can enhance your career and can give you access to auditions that you cannot get on your own. Okay? Last year, 5% of my work came from agents. But 50% of my work is non-broadcast, e-learning, explainers, corporate, industrials. Agents don't work in those. Okay? I narrate audiobooks, maybe a 5 to 6, 7, 8, 9 a year. Agents don't work in audiobooks. So if your goal is to be an e-learning narrator or an audiobook narrator, you don't need an agent. You just don't. It's one of those three portals that there's not really much point in pursuing. Now, if you want to do high-end commercials or you want to do high-end video games or you want to do high-end animation, eventually you will need an agent because your job is to make an agent money. And if you have not proven that you can make an agent money, then it's very hard to get representation. Now, but what I will say, because I was talking to an agent just last week, is yes, they are always looking for fresh voices. And that's fine. But if you don't know project management, if you don't understand how to take direction, analyze a script, make quick decisions, then you will not be of use. You will have zero value to an agent. Okay. So guys, get it out of your head that you need an agent to be successful, because you got to figure out what your definition of success is. And if your definition of success does involve agents, then yes, that's something you can work towards. But the second you get your wonderful, fabulous, shiny, wonderfully produced Edge Studio demo, if the very first thing you do is submit it to an agent, but you book and then you don't know how to audition, or if you happen to get the audition and you don't know your butt from your elbow when you're actually recording it or taking direction, well, then you blew it. So don't do that. Be patient. Develop your skills.
Yeah, I know voice actors who live in the middle of the country and on farmlands who record telephony around the clock. That's their main genre, and
Mhm.
they're so happy. They're so successful, financially successful, mentally successful. They're just thrilled with what it is that they do. They don't touch commercials. They don't have agents. They're not in the union. They're psyched. And yeah, so your definition of success to each of you is very different than anyone else's.
Yeah. Okay. So we've covered that to a degree. I also want to say, Luke, Edge Studio does not offer internships at this point in time. Um, okay, from John. Tom, when considering one-on-one coaching for further training, would you recommend staying voiceover specific, or could someone like a stage film coach director be helpful?
Uh, there are some amazing stage and film and other coaches out there, but no, if you want to be successful in voiceovers, you need a voiceover coach. Now, never ask an encyclopedia salesman if you need an encyclopedia, but as a voiceover coach, I'm saying, yes, you should work with a voiceover coach if you want to get into voiceovers. But it just kind of makes sense, because here's the thing. The voiceover industry has changed. Dave can attest to this because he's been in this longer than I have, has changed dramatically. Trends change, the ability to home record, understanding representation, what do casting directors look for, understanding direct marketing, understanding social media. There is so much nuance and things change all the time that I would not use a stage or a film or a television coach to help you with your voiceover career, just like you wouldn't hire, you wouldn't do it in the opposite way. So no. And there are enough high quality voiceover coaches and amazing ones here at Edge Studio who can give you the guidance that you need that would cost you another medium like theater or film.
Great. David, anything?
No, I
You got you?
agree. I mean, work
Okay.
with a coach. You can't do it without one. Yeah. Too many people try, and you just end up wasting your time and money if you try to do this without a coach. There are just so many nuances, from the selection of scripts to the way the demo is put together. You can't do it on your own. You really can't. You need someone to guide you.
From my friend William in his fabulously lit studio. Um, can you use a narration demo for e-learning work, or should you have an e-learning specific demo?
Okay, here's the thing about that is that nobody can agree on what e-learning is, or an industrial or corporate or narration. All of these terms are interchangeable. The voiceover industry is nothing but this giant hand-me-down, stretched out sweater from your older brother or sister when it comes to these terms. You could talk to 10 voice seekers and ask them what e-learning is, and you're going to get 15 different answers. This is a big problem in our industry. Just understanding we can't even agree on, is it voice space over? Is it voiceover? Is it voice dash over? Are you a voice talent, a voice actor, or a voice artist? It's ridiculous. And all the technologies hand me down too. So when I hear e-learning, I think of content that's taken in by a student. When I hear industrial, I think of content that's taken in by an employee. And guess what? I'm wrong. Everybody's wrong. What I say is informational content, non-broadcast informational content. That umbrella includes stuff that students hear, stuff that employees hear, stuff that you hear at a train station, stuff you hear at a museum kiosk, for example. Telephony is also a form of informational content. Hi, I'm telling you to do this, and you need to know this so you can do this. For English, press 1. For Spanish, press 2. All of it's informational. So that's another thing, guys. It's very easy to get extraordinarily confused. So, William, I technically, obnoxiously can't answer your question because I don't know what you mean by narration and I don't know what you mean by e-learning. You know what I mean? So get clarification from whoever you're talking about. What do they mean by that? You know what I mean?
Last question I want to tackle. Tom, how do you approach writing a VO resume specifically at the beginning of your career? Direct contact clients have asked for one from Erica, and she's not sure how to list gigs in a way that makes sense in a resume format.
Okay.
Do,
There's
yeah.
no set answer to this. A VO resume. I mean, I've been pursuing this for 25 years. I've been asked maybe 2 or 3 times for that. It is a lot more common in Europe to be asked for a resume, or what do they call it? A CV. Is that what they call it
Yes.
in Europe?
Yes.
So it's more common there. But if they're asking for a resume, they're just basically want to know, who have you worked with? Okay, I've done commercials for Chevy. I've done medical narration for Pfizer. I've done telephony for, Jiffy Lube. You know what I mean? So it's just like, do you say, oh, I got that on voice 123? No, they don't care about that. And I don't know if you want to share how you got your work is nobody's business, frankly. So what's the end client? What's the front facing product or service that you did? And just list those. I don't even know if the year even really matters, you know? So it's just very rare. It's very rare that that's even asked for, in my experience, at least.
David, anything?
Yeah, we at Edge in our production department, we never ask for resumes. I mean, well, it depends on how you define demo. A demo is essentially a resume. So the demo demo is short for demonstration, right? It demonstrates what you're capable of providing. And that's all we need. That's all our clients need. Occasionally our clients want to know the experience that someone has had, but generally they just want to know that this person has been around, and we can expect that they will continue to be around. That's only done if it's a very long ongoing product. So if we have a project that we're going to be recording over the next 3 years, then the client wants to have some form of confidence that the voice actor is steady and will be around in 3 years' time when they complete the project. But that's every
Right.
once in a blue moon.
Right. I will say this is the one thing I do every month is I look at all the gigs that I did in the previous quarter. I go to YouTube. I look to see if there's a YouTube video of any of the voiceover work that I did, and then I save it as a playlist by genre. So if anyone asks me for a resume, I would probably here's my YouTube portfolio, because I've probably got a couple of hundred videos on there now of here's a bunch of explainers that I've done. Here's a bunch of commercials that I've done. Here's a bunch of cartoons that I've done. So if you've been building it up and you look around for it, that would probably be, I guess, the closest thing to a resume that you could, submit. That would kind of make sense. That would give them what
Right.
they want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, again, this is more like in-depth stuff, and it sounds like they're hustling you. And Erica, I appreciate your journey here, the company on the resume. Yeah, these are a lot of things to think about, but it's always going to be changing too, right? And that's the importance of training, coming to things like this, having community, doing this kind of work, and being able to talk to each other because like stuff is always so actively changing. To that end, sorry, we've gone over a little bit, but it's great to see you all here. Once again, Tom's class is on the 16th. So success in online casting. So if you're like, oh my gosh, I have all these pay to play website questions, that is the place to get them answered. Genuinely, this is in-depth stuff, and it is not possible to cover it all in an hour-long Q&A. You guys are these messages are so sweet. Additionally, if you're new to voiceover and you're like, I don't know how to get into this deal, our Investigate voiceover class, here's a link to it, and you've got this coupon code IVO5 for 10% off any IVO class. We teach them throughout every month of our lives. Finally, one-on-one coaching. If you're like, I have so many more questions for Tom or David or any of our fabulous coaches, we have our AMA coupon, $25 off a session. You can use it at these links I've dropped here. Additionally, I've got a link for you to work directly with Tom for all of these kinds of in-depth strategist questions, narration questions, all of the kinds of things we need to discuss with Tom himself. Additionally, if you want to drop just your hellos, goodbyes in the chat, if you want to drop your handles so we can follow each other on social media, I just want to shout out and thank Tom because he's given us this hour of his time. He's donating his time to the community. And so we appreciate you, Tom, and thanks for sharing your wisdom with us and your humor and your spirit. We appreciate you. David, it's always great to see you. Any closing remarks, David?
As always, a shout out to all of you for being dedicated and being here. It's terrific. We love this on our end, and we hope you gain something from it. Shout out to Tom. Awesome information. Thank you so much. 9 years. That's terrific. If some of you missed our opening, Tom has been with Edge for 9 years now. We right before this call, we established 9 years and I think 12 days. How cool!
Whoa.
And last shout out to Siobhan, who does just an amazing job running these. Her energy is terrific, and we
Yay.
appreciate that. Yeah, thanks. So thank you all. We'll be back on in 2 weeks, right, Siobhan? The 17th.
We will totally. Oh yeah. We'll be back on in 2 weeks. If you want to save the chat, my people, this video will be up on YouTube. But to save the chat, just hover to the little ellipses at the bottom of the chat, and it'll give you some options, including save. And so you can keep this glorious conversation to have and cherish for always. We appreciate you, Barry. I think it was Barry. Barry says someone needs to tell Tom to be more blunt. And so I think
I'll work on it.
I think that's a perfect ending for today. Hey, everybody, it's a true pleasure to see you. Kim, great to have you. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for your time. There's lots of love for you. I'll share this with you later, Tom. But hey, everyone, I hope you have a fabulous week. And we will be back. It'll just be me and David for our final session of the year, which is a wild. And that will be on the 17th. And so we look forward to being with you then. And otherwise, have a safe and lovely afternoon, my beautiful people. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Thanks for your great questions. It was fun.
It was fun.